Good evening, ladies and germs. I noticed that every video I have on this channel, I'm either in my pajamas or my work uniform, so today I decided to switch it up a little, and I'm wearing this shirt that I got from Conan Gray. He's one of my favorite YouTubers, and he's just so talented. Support your local artist. So I'm wearing this, and I actually look kind of semi-put together for this video, even though I'm not even wearing pants, but that's not the point. Point is, I'm here to talk about a topic that is actually pretty important to me, and I do think about this a lot, especially because when I was younger and even now, some of my favorite videos to watch on YouTube are the ones where people talk about things that I can relate to, and quite frankly, I haven't seen very many videos about this topic, so I just figured if I made a video about it, maybe people could relate. And I think these are issues that not just Blasians can relate to, but just people of mixed race in general. If you don't know, I'm half black and half Japanese. Japanese is Asian and black is black, and combined together, people usually abbreviate it to Blasian. That's not an abbreviation. You get the point. Anyways, so I made a list on my phone, and I'm just gonna go through them one by one. I don't want to call them problems, but they're just like issues and I don't know, just things. And I divided them into general, black specific, and Japanese specific. So just some general like problems and things that I have to go through on a daily basis being Blasian and being a person of mixed race is fetishization. Oh my god. When I tell you that being mixed race, especially Blasian, is fetishized so heavily by people, it's just insane. I'm sure you've seen posts online that are like, mixed race babies are amazing and I want to marry a black guy so that I have a mixed baby and it's gonna be so cute. Like, what the fuck, bitch? It's a baby. Like, all babies are cute. Who cares if it's mixed? And like, that's a stupid reason to want to marry someone just so that you guys can have mixed babies. Like, that's fucking stupid. And I've definitely been fetishized in my lifetime. Like, this has actually happened to me before. Like, so many people will find out that I'm Blasian and they just like think it's so cool and automatically want to be my friend, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, 10 minutes ago you were a fucking bitch. Now you know I'm mixed and you all of a sudden want to be my friend? Like, that's fucking dumb. Another general issue that I have experienced, and I'm sure many other mixed people have experienced, is not really feeling like a whole person sometimes, because a lot of times people just choose to see you as one or the other. Like, I know a lot of times when I meet people and tell them my race, they automatically just pick one and move on. Like, I have many friends who just call me Asian and other friends who call me black, but I don't have any friends that actually call me Blasian or acknowledge the fact that I am both. And that kind of bothers me. Listen, I know that my race is not a 100% what makes me me, but it is a very big part of me, and it's important to me that people acknowledge all parts of me, including my race, my sexuality, my gender identity, my moralistic views, etc. So when people don't choose to acknowledge my full race, it almost makes me feel like they're picking me apart and only choosing to acknowledge the parts of me that they like. You know what I mean? Like, not to throw anyone under the bus or anything, but I do happen to notice that most of my white friends are the ones who choose to see me as only Asian. Sue me. Anyways, moving on. Another thing that kind of relates to the last problem, or I don't even know what to call these anymore, the last point, I'm gonna call them points, is not really fitting into either group fully. And this is another thing that can kind of make me not feel like a whole person, just because sometimes, you know, I don't feel fully comfortable in black spaces, nor do I feel fully comfortable in Japanese only spaces, because there are certain experiences of both races that I have never experienced and will never experience. So sometimes I just feel like I don't even fit into either group fully, even though I am technically fully both. Does that make sense? Oh my god, this one is so annoying. Stereotypes. Bitch. Can I just say that stereotypes are the stupidest thing invented? Stereotypes are really annoying because people expect me to fit into certain stereotypes because I am Asian or because I'm black, and it's really fucking annoying because there's a lot of stereotypes that I do not fit into at all. For example, I'm half black, but bitch, I cannot dance to save my own life. When I dance, I look like a wet noodle, and that's just what it is. The next point is that people can never guess what the fuck I am. And this isn't really a problem or an issue I have, I just think it's kind of funny and relatable, so I added it. The most common guesses I receive from my race are Filipino, Indonesian, Hawaiian. Oh my god, I get Hawaiian all the time. Indian? Bitch, where? What? Mexican? What the fuck? I mean, I guess I could kind of see Mexican, but also not really. I just always think these guesses are so funny because I only see me as me and I know what I am, so I can't see myself as anything else. So when other people think that I'm not what I am, it's kind of just like, what the fuck, how? But like, also, I know how. Whatever. By the way, I'm not drinking coffee. This is water. Ha! I really fooled you, didn't I? Okay, so now moving on to the black specific problems, and it's about to get deep, y'all. One of the very, very prominent emotions that I have felt in my lifetime is not feeling black enough. I never really felt this way at all, like throughout my life until adolescence, because that's when you know, start figuring yourself out and your identity and all that shit. The reason why there are times when I often feel like I'm not black enough, which I know doesn't exist because I am black and whatever, but just listen. The reason why I feel that way sometimes is because there are many, like I said before, aspects of the black experience that I will never understand. I am fairly light-skinned. I have straight hair. The way I talk is not necessarily considered the most, which is another stereotype. Again, all of these things are stereotypes to what makes a person black, but the way I talk is not necessarily thought of in that way, if you know what I mean. To put it simply, I talk like a white person, okay? Like I said, I can't dance. And lastly, my body type. I do not have the body of a typical African American woman. I, in fact, have the most Asian body on the planet of human existence. If you don't know, Asians usually tend to be on the slimmer side, and, you know, people of color usually tend to be curvaceous and shit, and I am definitely not that at all. In fact, I don't have boobs whatsoever. Let me show you. I'm so flat the walls are jealous. Anyways, my point is that I will never fully be able to understand or identify with being a black woman because there are many aspects of being an African American woman in this country especially that I will just never experience. I mean, when I go out into the street, people don't look at me and think that I'm black. Another example of like not feeling black enough can be seen whenever I walk into a black space. For example, my entire father's side of my family is black, and whenever I'm around them, they just choose to see me as Asian, which, as I mentioned before, happens. People choose to see you as one or the other. But yeah, they just look at me and call me little Asian girl and move on. And I'm like, y'all do realize I'm half you too, right? Like, what the fuck? It's really annoying and also kind of hurtful sometimes because it's just like, you just want to be acknowledged for what you are. Not feeling black enough was also one of my biggest fears when I chose to apply to Spelman College, which I have a whole nother video about that. If you don't know, I applied to Spelman College, which is the #1 historically black university in this country. I got in and I was like, fuck, I'm not going, but it's not because of this whole not black enough thing. It's just because it's expensive as fuck. But anyways, one of my fears of attending before I even applied was, am I gonna fit in? This school is a school for educated black women, and I am one of those but also not fully, and what if I go and I just feel like I don't belong? That was one of my biggest fears. Now moving on to the Japanese specific things. So similar to not feeling black enough, there are many times where I just can't fully identify as being Japanese for obvious reasons. One being, I don't look Japanese at all. Being in Japanese spaces and surrounded by people who are mostly, if not all, Japanese or Asian, I obviously stand out like a sore thumb. I am brown. Every time I go to Japan, I am definitely the only brown person within a 30-mile radius of that entire country. So yeah, you could say I feel like I don't fit in, at least a little bit. Whenever I visit Japanese family, just like my black family, who choose to only see me as Asian, my Japanese family chooses only to see me as black. They always ask me these weird questions about what's it like being black? Is being black fun? Does Y event happen because you're black? Do you like this because you're black? And it's just like, bitch, I'm Japanese too. Do you not realize you're speaking to me in Japanese and I'm speaking to you back in Japanese, and my mother, who happens to be related to you directly just as I am, is full Japanese, thereby making me 50% Japanese? It's really fucking annoying, guys. There's actually a story that I want to tell, and it's also has to do with Spelman. When I chose to apply to Spelman, my mom didn't really have any sort of reaction to my decision to apply. She was kind of just like, why? And I was like, because it's a good school. And she was like, okay. And it kind of just stayed that way until it came down to making the decision of where I wanted to go, actually. And for some reason, my mom just kept discouraging Spelman, even though it was my top choice. I would always say, Spelman's where I want to go, Mom. And she'd be like, yeah, but you should go to UCLA. If you don't know, UCLA's population is heavily Asian. And finally, in the end, I decided on San Francisco State, and my mother was elated. And so I finally asked her, I was like, Mom, like, why didn't you want me to go to Spelman? And she was like, because you're not just black. You're Japanese too, and you need to remember that. And when she said that, I understood where she was coming from, but at the same time, it bothered me because I don't think she realizes how it feels not to 100% identify with a part of yourself. Yes, I identify as Japanese because I am half Japanese, and that's just what I am. But there are times when it's just hard. She expects me to understand certain aspects of being Japanese that I just don't. The way that I see the world and move through it is very conducive to the way that I have been treated as a result of the way I look in terms of my race. Does that make sense? Like I said before, when I go out into the street, people don't look at me and think I'm black, but they certainly don't look at me and think I'm Japanese. I don't really know what I'm trying to say anymore, but you know what? Never fucking mind. I'm moving on. Anyways, I think those are all the problems that I have on my list. I couldn't really think of any more. I'm sorry if this video is really rambly and kind of confusing. I tried to put my thoughts into words, but I do that better on paper than I do with my mouth. Moral of the story is, I'm proud of my heritage on both sides. It's an important part of who I am, like I said before. Yes, there are times where I feel a certain pressure to, you know, fit into certain stereotypes to prove that I, you know, am worthy or valid of being considered either race. And sometimes I do feel an overwhelming desire to just be one or the other. I can't tell you how many times throughout my life when I was a little kid, I used to wish I was just full black or full Japanese because it would make things easier. But when I think about it now, I remember that being full black or being full Japanese wouldn't change anything because at the end of the day, I'm me no matter what. And being both is part of what makes me me. So, me. What makes me me? Oh my god, that was clever. Get it? Because my name's Mimi and I'm me. Thanks for watching, bitch. I hope you related. I have 53 subscribers. Should I do a 53 subscriber special? Okay. Bye. Ah, shit, I spilled water.